program. As part of the Independent Film Alliance, we have some special guests here in studio. They are part of a feature film called Discipline, as part of the Independent Film Alliance Matters. I'm welcome to have Martin Mayo in studio. Martin, welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here.
And also Courtney Gaines, who is the principal actor in Discipline. Courtney, welcome.
How you doing?
Let's start off, Martin, with you. On the whole concept of Discipline, what really got you excited or motivated to make a feature like this?
Well, at the time we were trying to figure out what to do, you know, we did not want to make another cop buddy movie.
Okay.
I was looking for some angle, something that has not been over exploited, that was interesting, that was dark, that was you know, that people would generate imagination in people, you know.
Yes.
So I looked and I found an article in a magazine. I can't remember what it was or where I saw it, but I said, this is an interesting subject matter. And I met a person who practiced S&M, or they were involved in that scene, and I started to ask questions. Well, what happens? This, you know, here or there, and I got together with another friend, and we decided. I gave him a general idea of what we wanted to make, and basically what we did is we wrote a script, but we wrote it as an exercise. Okay, and we just put it away. We only wrote like 50 pages of it, and that was it, and put it in a box and forgot about it. But what happened is that we had written another script, a vampire movie, right? Mm-hmm. But what happened, we started to write the vampire movie, and it was got to be really expensive, you know? So this investor woman came by and she said, I really want to make this movie with you, the vampire movie, right? She couldn't afford it, and we couldn't afford it. She was the investor, right? So she was walking out the door, and as I saw her walking out the door, I saw the film just flying away, right? I said, wait a minute, I have this other script. You know, so she came back and I read her the 50 pages, and she said, you have 30 days to give me a finished script, and I can finance that.
That's quite a story. I mean, I guess that's how many things in the independent film industry work.
Right, yeah.
You have to discuss it and get somebody excited and motivated on it.
And I had a friend who was a writer, and she wrote books, art books, and also children's stories. Okay. Her name is Carol Katchen. And she's never written a thriller or anything. She basically has a bunch of children's books out there, you know? And she decided to tackle this subject matter with me, you know?
So I'm assuming you collaborated with her on the actual overview and what you're going to say.
Yeah, she did. She did a lot of the writing itself, because her prose is a hell of a lot better than mine. But my ideas are all there.
Are in there.
And then when she finished the script, I went over it and I sort of rewrote the whole thing. And then that's where we ended up with a really good script. And we actually, even though we improvise here and there, we actually shot the script. I mean, just about every word that's in the movie, it's scripted. So.
Well, for the viewing audience, Discipline is a movie about various aspects of, I would say, pain, and how that has social overtones, psychological overtones, and other overtones for people, depending on how they view or experience it. I want to talk briefly with Courtney Gaines, who is the principal actor in the movie, and I guess he's the one who was part of the experiment or the research or the overall, and eventually ended up as someone who was the protagonist in the whole thing.
Correct. I think that I think one of the things that interested me in the role was you know, I think SM is something that's often just made fun of and sort of a butt of jokes, but I really didn't know anything really about it. And I thought this would be an opportunity to actually explore, you know, what is, you know, as an actor, you always want to know what makes people tick. That's what interests me. So to delve into that scene and find out what it's about, I mean, it's very interesting. Some people only experience erotic pleasure through pain.
Through pain, yeah.
That's the only way that they. Yeah. And I went to meetings and clubs and learned a lot. And you know, there are people who have 20, 30, 40-year marriages that are into this scene, and I'm like, hey, I don't care what you do. If you can stay married for 20, 30, 40 years, you're doing something right. So if it works for you, God bless, you know?
So Martin, when you were developing Discipline, did you foresee that it was going to have these overtones, like people were getting pleasure out of pain, and of course others experiencing pain for pain's sake?
Well,
was that part of the...
Let me tell you a little bit about this.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, the first thing I discovered after interviewing a lot of people who are in the scene, and after going to a lot of meetings and gatherings and experiencing a little bit of what was going on, I discovered one thing. These people go by something they call safe, sane, and consensual.
Okay.
So these are not crazy people. These are judges, policemen, lawyers, intelligent people. This type of activity seems to draw intelligent people to it. Okay? And they're very serious about safe, sane, and consensual. But just like everything else, like a religious zealot or like that, there are people who are in the fringes, people who are not the mainstream S&M, so to speak, but people who are pain pigs, or who are, people who really
they don't have boundaries.
Yes.
Like, with these safe words, someone's being, spanked or whipped or whatever, if it gets to a point where it's actually too painful for them, they have an outward for the people to not continue and stuff. But there are people in the scene, as you said, on the fringes, who they have no limit.
They take it to extremes.
They could get hurt. They could get killed.
It could become
any number
harmful.
of things could happen. Yeah, they don't have a limit.
And this movie is about those people that are in the fringes.
Okay.
Right.
And that's what interests me. And wow, this becomes an interesting subject matter. Because we see this in our everyday life. We see S&M now in television, in commercials, in rock and roll, and everywhere. All right, but we really don't know enough about it. I once had an opportunity to go to a class called S&M 101.
Okay.
I should have gone to that class.
Yeah, you should.
Where was that at? At some community college?
No, that was actually in one of the fairs that they put on. It was called S&M 101. And what I was surprised was to find out that they taught you how to whip somebody without hurting them. Or without cutting their skin.
Correct.
And really inflict pain, but without doing damage to the other people. What parts of the body to hit, what parts of the body not to hit, and all that kind of stuff. So all that seems to me really interesting, and it gave me a lot of material to go into the writing and to the idea behind the
It sounds like, Martin, that you had done extensive research prior to the actual scripting.
Yes, but I'm not a practitioner. I want to make that clear. I'm just like an investigator,
Well, let's clarify that. Actually, your principal role in the feature is as director.
Yes, director, producer, writer, editor.
All right. So you got involved in most of the pre-production, production, and post-production.
Yes.
Independent film. You wear many hats to get the job done.
That's right. Those in the audience who know, the independent film producers, they really put out most of the work themselves, and they get involved in the technical and theoretical and also practical levels.